Hey everyone, what's up and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm really excited to be talking about Ringu, a movie that I've been wanting to see for the longest time. If you don't know me, I'm a really big fan of the American remake of this movie, The Ring, which I believe came out in 2002. That was one of the first horror movies I ever saw, one of the first horror movies that really terrified me and still to this day scares me. I always wanted to see the Japanese original of this, which this movie is the adaptation of the novel Ring, or Ringu as well. If you guys have seen Ringu, please let me know what you all think about it down below, and let me know which one you guys like more, the American version or the Japanese version. I'd be very interested to hear that. I'm actually going to be watching The Ring very soon to review it for you guys in 31 Nights of Horror, so I'll give you guys my answer when I rewatch that movie. But yeah, very excited to be talking about this movie today, and I hope you guys are too, and let's just get right to it. A mysterious video has been linked to a number of deaths, and when a journalist finds a tape and views it herself, she sets in motion a chain of events that puts her own life in danger. So I just really want to say that I think this movie is very, very scary. And it's really funny that I think it's scary because I also think this movie is super relaxing and calm at the same time. This movie has some really great cinematography, really great visuals, really great essence of just being a very calm looking movie. I think it's a lot with how they build the ambiance and also how this movie really doesn't rely on jump scares or super gory things to get you to feel really scared. It really much is just about building that ambiance and building up scenes after each other. The movie has this very almost quiet vibe to it, and at the same time is very terrifying. I saw this movie in 2 sittings because it was getting late and I was actually getting a little bit freaked out, and then I finished it the other night, and this movie I think is pretty creepy. I think the entire story of Ringu is terrifying. I've always thought it was, and this movie just kind of brings it to another level because I think it really plays with these characters well to get us to feel something for them, and they put them in such a vulnerable situation, a situation where they don't know what's gonna happen and the days are running out, and I think that entire thing was done very well in this movie, and the suspense was just built after one another. I also think this movie did a really good job at making us even more scared when they showed the tape, when the little kid was watching the tape, for example. I knew it was coming, and I still felt that, I still felt that pain when his mother was came in and saw he was watching the TV and stuff, and the tape, and just moments like that where it's slowly building up to something just really get me. And also I think this movie, although there's not a lot of gore, and there's not a lot of jump scares for that matter, and it's very quiet like I'm saying, the look of these people when they die is terrifying. And I think that's what scared me a lot when I was watching it the first night, that I was like, you know what, I'm gonna finish it tomorrow. And trust me, that barely ever happens. I consider myself to not really get scared of anything. I feel like I'm numb at this point with how many horror stuff I've been watching. I don't even know how to describe it. They just look so terrified. And I think it just adds to that whole thing where holy crap, what happened between them in their last moments. And it's just this really terrifying fate that the characters in this movie are eventually going to face unless they do something about it. I will say though that I think the characters could have been a little bit better in this movie, especially the mom character and her relationship with her son. I don't think these characters are horrible. Like I said, I think the movie did a really good job at getting the audience to care for these characters, because really, if you don't care for the characters in this movie, the movie's pretty much done with. The whole thing, they're trying to figure out what's gonna happen to them, what's happening with the curse, what's happening with the tape, and this entire journey, if you have an audience who does not care about the characters, it's almost boring and kind of pointless, because at the end of the day, you're okay, I don't care what happens to them. And at this point, I did care what happened to them. However, I don't think I ever really got the connection with mother and son, because in this story, she sees the tape, then her son sees the tape, and there's a lot of moments where she's like, okay, I have to do this because we need to save, obviously ourselves, but also our son, type of thing. And I feel like there was a lot of disconnect between them, in my opinion. I didn't really get that bond or that love between them, and they kind of felt a little bit separated in the storyline, where I think the story could have really brought them together a lot more. And I don't know also if that's because of the acting as well. I'm not particularly a big fan of some of the choices in this movie with the acting and also the script, because a lot of moments in this movie to me felt very overacted and dramatized. There's a lot of moments, for example, where the main character, she's kind of talking to herself and narrating what she's thinking about to herself. In my opinion, I prefer when movies kind of do that, but it's more of we kind of know what she's feeling, know what she's saying in her head just by what the actress is doing. And I didn't really like how in a couple of moments in this movie, she was almost reading our thoughts to us. This movie's very quiet and almost I guess relaxed is not the right word to say it, but you know, it's very, yeah, just quiet, and I think sometimes the overacting kind of would ruin the mood in my opinion. But again, I'm not Japanese. I was watching this with the original Japanese audio and then the subtitles, so I don't know if she was acting extremely well to somebody who is Japanese and knows the language and stuff like that, but to me that's kind of what it felt like. I do want to say too that I did like the editing of this movie a lot. There's a lot of moments where we kind of go back in time, little flashbacks, and there's like black and white sequences, and those worked for me. There's a lot of moments too where oh my god, I loved those moments where like the character is looking at something and it goes back to the past, so she's being put in Sadako's shoes, and I really liked those moments where it would kind of like flash from reality to the past and the scenes would parallel with one another. I thought those were done really, really well. And there's another thing that I don't know if I like it or if I don't like it, but a big part of the Ringu and the Ring is the tape that they watch, and I think this tape is a little bit less scary than I remember the Ring's tape being. But again, I don't think that's anything against the movie. I think this movie was very much going for more of a low-key type of horror than the other one was, from what I remember, because it's been a little while since I've seen The Ring. But yeah, at the end of the day, this movie really got me with the tension, and I think these movies really work because they scare the hell out of you, and this movie definitely did that. I found myself gripping to the edge of my seat like a lot of times, even though I kind of knew what was going to happen, and I also really liked the ending of this movie as well, and like the climax moments. A lot of really high moments in this movie, a couple of moments that I think could have been a little bit better, but overall I think this is a very engaging story and a really great horror movie that just has me from beginning to end wondering what the mystery is and what's going to happen with these characters. And I really like how it's almost like a detective movie as well, them trying to figure out the missing pieces from the past to try to help them in the present. And there's a lot of shocking moments too that I really like this movie, and I think if you're a horror fan, especially if you're a fan of The Ring, this is one that you guys should probably bump up on your watch list or put on your watch list if it's not there, because it's pretty good and it really makes me want to explore a lot more Japanese horror. So if you guys have any Japanese horror recommendations, please let me know down below. Thank you all so much for watching today's review. Thank you all so much for supporting me through 31 Nights of Horror. I'm excited to just keep bumping out these videos. I know they're coming out, I think, a little bit delayed because, guys, it's been a couple crazy hectic days. But the videos are coming out a little bit late, but trust me, they're coming. And by the way, I decided what I'm going to be doing for my final Halloween video. I don't remember if I said this on a live stream or in a previous video. I don't think I did, but if I did, I'm repeating myself. I'm going to be doing my favorite horror movies of all time, but specifically my favorite 31 horror movies of all time on Halloween. So make sure to subscribe if you aren't subscribed and you're excited for that, or turn on your notifications so you know exactly when that drops. But yeah, I'm excited to talk about literally so many horror movies in that video, and hopefully you guys get to know my little horror taste a little bit better. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching once again, and I'll make sure to see you all in the next video. Bye everyone!